Wars in Gaza and Ukraine were prominent in discussions among G7 leaders in southern Italy, albeit with differing prospects for progress. On Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky was offered a gesture of the G7's long-term support, a 10-year bilateral security deal signed with the United States to add to similar deals with other G7 members, together intended as a step towards eventual NATO membership.
Is to strengthen Ukraine's credible defense and deterrence capabilities for the long term. A lasting peace for Ukraine must be underwritten by Ukraine's own ability to defend itself now and to deter future aggression anytime in the future. The United States is going to help ensure that Ukraine can do both.
Sanctions were expanded on entities still helping to keep Russia's economy afloat, and a deal was reached to allow the interest on frozen Russian assets to be used as collateral for a $50 billion loan to Ukraine for military reconstruction and humanitarian use.
Today is a truly historic day, and we have signed the strongest agreement between Ukraine and the US since our independence. And this is an agreement on security and thus on the protection of human life.
Gaza is trickier territory than Ukraine for the G7, with members sometimes divided in their support for Israel and the Palestinians, and facing allegations from outside of hypocrisy and double standards as a result. A section of the summit's draft conclusions reiterates the G7 support for what are described as US efforts towards a ceasefire. It's also expected to contain language confirming the G7's commitment to a two-state solution. And it urges Israel to refrain from an expanded offensive in Rafah in the south of the Gaza Strip. It's a big moment for Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, fast becoming the acceptable face of far-right politics on the international stage and intent on forging new influence for Italy in Europe.
The message we want to convey is a G7 under the Italian presidency that wants to strengthen its dialogue with the nations of the Global South.
This G7 lacks some of the amiable informality of previous gatherings, and not just because of the gloomy state of the world. Meloni had an easy smile, but all her fellow leaders face battles for their political futures at home. The next G7 lineup could look quite different to this one. Jonah, Al Jazeera, Bari in southern Italy.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.